thought Starbucks was spendy. How do you feel about a $6 cup of coffee? It's not just for people with trust funds and private planes. Gourmet coffee is huge with the hipsters right now, and many predict it may be America's next big food trend. My Nightline co-anchor Juju Chang investigates.
Knock out any little residual coffee.
That smells good.
Right?
That's incredible.
This is one of our new releases from Kenya.
Nick Herman tends a brew bar, where the hippest cup of coffee can cost you as much as $6.
We're gonna measure out 25 grams.
It's made with the finest beans, scientific measurements, expertly poured into a pre-warmed cup. This is not your average cup of joe.
Honestly, this is like a high school chemistry exam. I feel like a little Breaking Bad action is happening right now.
You've heard of artisanal cheeses and craft beers, but inside this coffee shop, the newest food trend is brewing. This is Stumptown Coffee, one of the leaders in a booming movement hoping to revolutionize the way we drink the dark stuff. Those iconic Folgers ads set the stage for the first wave of American coffee. Then, Starbucks launched a second wave, adding new words like venti, dirty, soy, mocha, chai to America's vocabulary. Coffee lingo so ubiquitous, it's now mocked in movies like Role Models.
No, venti is 20.
Danny.
Yeah. Large is large. In fact, tall is large, and grande is Spanish for large. Venti's the only one that doesn't mean large.
Enter the so-called third wave of coffee, bringing an ultra-gourmet touch to the bean scene with artisanal brands like Blue Bottle, Intelligentsia, and Stumptown. Convenience store Joe, this is not. These guys take their brew very, very seriously.
We like to say we're kind of people's spirit guides in coffee here.
Americans drink about 400 million cups of coffee every day, feeding an industry worth $30 billion. Major chains like Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts take the biggest piece of the pie, but the third wave coffee movement is growing fast, exploding in cities like New York, San Francisco, Chicago, and beyond. Their customers are hip, young, and willing to shell out extra cash for a special cup.
It's the same with a high-end bottle of wine or that great cheese or that great steak.
Joth Rickey and John Feldman are two of the forces behind Stumptown Coffee, now an estimated $50 million business.
And there's a lot of chemical reaction happening. There's a lot of heat introduced.
Stumptown's coffee scouts select rarefied beans from around the world and ship them here to their Brooklyn roastery to be browned to perfection.
Well, if Stumptown had a coffee philosophy, what would that be?
For the coffee customer to have a great cup of coffee every day.
But what's driving so many people to pay the extra dollars for a gourmet cup?
People are prepared to pay up now for an experience. There's definitely a snob factor at play within third wave coffee, and they're quite proud of this.
Andy Brennan is a food industry analyst hailing from Australia, where the third wave has taken over the coffee business. He believes American consumers are about to do the same. And it's not just luxury coffee. We're getting increasingly highfalutin about high-end hamburgers, shishi cocktails. And for savvy, young, Instagram-loving foodies, what you eat and sip is a status symbol.
The type of coffee you drink is really becoming a statement about who you are. People don't necessarily want to drink at Starbucks anymore because it's seen as generic.
Could brands like Stumptown one day take over the coffee house industry?
Is Stumptown keeping these Starbucks execs awake at night?
Oh, I don't know. I can't believe that they're too worried about us. If anything, we probably don't exist if they haven't done what they've done.
They've turned us into a nation of coffee addicts.
Yeah, more power to them.
But there's a rivalry percolating among the third wavers. If it's a coffee revolution, these guys may be the rebels. Three friends making gourmet coffee for the masses, on the cheap and ice cold. Grady's Cold Brew found success selling low-key, do-it-yourself cold brew coffee for as little as $1 a cup. Based out of this humble warehouse in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, there's no fancy coffee shop, just this quaint little stand.
I really don't need sugar. Right? Yeah. That's really amazing.
They call it New Orleans style, a long, slow brew you can do at home.
I wasn't the biggest fan of coffee shop culture. I didn't always find coffee shops to be comfortable. I thought they were a little stuffy, a little pretentious. Where I did want to enjoy it was at home.
Grady Laird is founder and namesake who concocted the recipe using chicory to cut the bitterness. His passion is to turn iced coffee into a year-round staple.
You don't start drinking warm beer or hot juice in the winter. You know, it's going to be really normal to see people doing it year-round.
Their product sold in stores like West Elm and Whole Foods. It sits right alongside bigger, more established brands who've given cold brew a try, including Stumptown. But the real question is, does the elaborate brew bar produce a tastier buzz?
This is so exciting. I feel like I need a drum roll.
And that's our Chemex.
May I try this?
Absolutely. You'll
This
notice
is like the perfect cup of Joe. Oh, that's good. That's really good.
Now, it's up to consumers to decide if all the extra fuss is worth it. For Nightline, I'm Juju Chang in New York.